Hybrid Theory, the debut album by Linkin Park. Welcome. I'm Jake,
I'm KJ.
and this is Blasphemous Reviews. You used to have Hybrid Theory on CD, didn't you?
No, I had it on cassette.
On cassette.
I had it on
Wow.
cassette
It's like
when I was.
that.
It's like that. I was 9 years old when that album came out, and I remember it was like my 10th birthday or something like that, and which is not far from the release.
Right.
That my dad took me to a music store, and remember, at a time, 9 years old, 10 years old, you're not focused on like, you know, I don't know, the stores and what they are at that time, which makes it so shitty to think about because I would love to know what's been released my entire like childhood from like
Right.
special albums from different artists and so on and so forth. Because I always think about music and I think about the one hit wonders we grew up with that we completely forgot about. But I digress. I remember being 10 years old grabbing this cassette because I remember my dad had a cassette player in his car. He didn't have a CD player. So I was like, all right, I'll get a cassette player or I'll get a cassette of it. So I get it. I remember it was only like $8 or $10. It wasn't
Yeah.
really that
Yeah.
expensive.
Back when
And
CDs were only $10 instead of they're like $15, $20 now, aren't they?
they are. I still buy CDs. Some can be 13, some can be 10, just depends on deals. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I remember popping that into my dad's van. Like it was an old, I
Astro.
don't know. I think a Chevy Astro, green
It was
one.
the fucking green, the fucking Hawk, bro. I
Dude,
remember
it was
that. I
wonderful.
remember that van.
It's either that one or a Windstar. I can't remember. But
That was
anyways,
the Windstar, the purple one.
I think so. I think so. You remember? It's been God, Friends too fucking long. I'll tell you that. Remember shit like that. But I remember popping it immediately into my dad's cassette player in the car, and we listened to that the entire way home. I flipped it, listened to the end, and I burnt that tape the fuck out. I
Yeah.
wish I still had it, but it was like so. Around that time, which was 2000, new metal was just kind of gaining popularity from Linkin Park to Disturbed. And like I remember how hard
Deftones and
Deftones.
um
I can't
System of a
even think of
Down
them.
was just starting out too.
Were they considered new metal?
I mean, I don't know, but I would still throw that into the same vein
Probably,
because
but I remember.
heavier rock with some other influences. Like I mean, new metal, I guess, or like specifically stuff like Linkin Park
Right.
has some pretty big like range of influences, which is pretty cool. And I think that's why they stood out the most out of some of those, you know, newer ones. But go on, sorry.
Yeah, no. You're good. You're good, and it's definitely true. And that's what I was coming back at. Like I remember just burning that cassette through a fucking hole, and I remember how much I loved, and like that music changed me. Like Linkin
Right.
Park was like just childhood. I embraced everything about Linkin Park. Granted, like as I grew older, I grew out, and unfortunately, I grew into Nickelback, which was unfortunate. I remember.
Everybody
I
grew
think
in the Nickelback.
I think so too. I
Did
think so
have
too.
you seen I feel like I showed you. Did you see the Google Photos ad that they put out on Instagram?
No, I don't know if
It-
I have.
all right, so they teamed up with Nickelback, all right, to do the look at this photograph.
Look at this graph. Is that what you're talking about?
They like recorded a a new version of it that is like goes along with the Google Photos ad.
Are you
No,
serious?
swear to God. And it's like he's like holding up a phone instead with like photos on it. He's like, look at this photograph. He makes fun of himself too. He like talks about his ramen. He's like, what does he say? He says like, "Is that my hair or just a ramen
Are
bowl?"
you?
I swear, dude. It's fucking gold.
That
Anyway,
makes me respect some fucking
swear,
Nickelback then.
dude. Like respect, mad respect, dude. Like you were just
Oh
like, you
man.
know what? We're gonna take this and we're gonna have some
And we're
fun
gonna
with
run
it.
with it. We're gonna fucking run with it.
Mad respect.
100%.
Everybody. Here's the thing, man. You play Nickelback. Everyone's like, "Oh, fucking Nickelback." 2 seconds later, when no one's looking, they're like singing every lyric.
It's like low key. It's like listening to like the High School Musical album or like
Nope.
I don't know, just something else. Well, what I'm saying is like you'll toe tap by yourself. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
you'll be like,
Okay.
man, this is fucking stupid, bro. But then
Singing
we're all
Frozen
been
songs
friends
in your car.
together, type shit. You know? So I don't know what the words are. I've never seen High School Musical, but I assume it's along those lines.
I love that you said you've never seen it, but you use that as the reference for.
It's because I see so many memes for that fucking stuff. And just
Really?
recently I watched somebody on TikTok that made fun of all of them.
Oh, I
Like it
bet.
was literally the same plot. Like same with Fast and the Furious, just a side note. Is like what happens, okay? Uh-oh, serious car races, big old action, plot twist, we're all family.
Some government fuckery shit, and then
Yeah, we're all family. Barbecues, we're all family. Shut the fuck up.
barbecues. Hey,
Oh man.
Vinny.
Dude. Get your
Oh,
own damn popcorn.
bro. I love that dude's outfit in that movie too, with the like,
Is it where he had the fishnet wife beater?
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
If that didn't scream early 2000s, I don't know what does. So, and you know what's funny is that ties into Linkin Park. All of them, if you look at the music videos from their like first, from Hybrid Theory, like look at the music video for Paper Cut and tell me you won't laugh at like. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it because it's like it's that like industrial or like what do you call it?
Oh, was that the
What do you call it? Fuck.
are you calling it like techno punk or something like that?
It's like cyberpunk, but like I don't want to say cyberpunk because that's not the
I
right.
know what you're talking about. It's not even it's on the tip of my tongue as well. I
Um,
can't even think of what the hell it is.
um,
Yeah. Too many ums. We
we're
gotta
moving
go on
on.
from there.
All
Yes.
right, but anyway, so it's so funny to look at all their outfits because they all got like big gauges and like the flare
Didn't
pants
Chester
with
have
chains and stuff.
spiky hair? Didn't Chester
They
have
all
spiky
did,
ass hair? They all did.
bro.
Oh yeah.
I saw
Didn't
a
Mike
picture.
had fucking yeah.
Mike had blue hair and
Hmm.
Chester had red hair, both spiked.
I think
But
Brad always has the fro though. He has the curly fro.
I
I
guess
don't know.
so.
I don't think he ever had. He's the one that wears the headphones all the time, lead guitar.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I don't think he ever had spiked hair.
I don't know. I saw a
I'm gonna
picture.
have to
I'm pretty
rewatch.
sure all of them had spiked hair, but I
I
could be
mean,
wrong.
that screams early 2000s as well.
I
I
could show
remember I
you a
spiked
picture
my
of.
hair.
I was gonna say I could show you a picture of myself with spiked hair. So
Yeah. I
we
mean,
won't go there. But
globs of gel. Globs.
God, that could no wonder my hair is so thin. Just putting chemicals in our
Just wanted to
hair.
look cool in fucking junior high, man. It's because Lincoln Park fucking did it to us. They were
Fuck
doing it.
yeah.
We thought it was sweet, and then fucking they probably had the money where they had the most natural like wax in their fucking hair too. We did not. We
I don't
bought
know
the
about
shit for
that.
a
At
buck
first, probably
88.
not.
That's
They
true.
they came out of the scene out of nowhere. Like before Hybrid Theory, Mike was recording a bunch of stuff in his parents' house. And actually, a couple of the songs, I think specifically "A Place for My Head" was one that he recorded, and pretty much that was one that came directly from when he was recording stuff by himself in his parents' house. And
Okay.
like he got together with somebody he knew in California because he was looking for he was starting to get some bandmates and was looking for a singer. Because the one that I guess they had one before they were Linkin Park. Or he was like making music with somebody else, but that didn't work out. And then um, his friend that he met with that was like a promoter knew about Chester, who was in Arizona, and sent Chester some tapes of Mike, and Chester was like, "This is it." Flew out to fucking California, and yeah, I got a quote. Um, yeah, it
Kind of like
was
42 ums in
yeah.
that whole thing.
Yeah, he flew out to California and he was met up with him outside of Zomba Music Publishing, which was on Sunset Strip, and that was the first time he had met Mike or any of them. It
Now to
even
add on to that as well, though, so when he sent those demos to Chester,
yeah
he actually he recorded some of the songs that he gave him, but then he also added his additional lyrics to some of the tracks.
yeah there were it was
Mm-hmm.
like instrumentals and with lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
and then Chester like Chester said he like immediately put on the instrumentals and was like, "This is it."
So it's
Um,
yeah, it's amazing how that all clicked together. You know,
yeah, it's pretty
fucking
wild.
yeah, fuck yeah.
I know, I know. But yeah, so to give a little bit more background on the, I guess the recording process leading up to that. Um, so I found this out that the originally he went to they tried to get a record deal and they couldn't get a record deal. Nobody would sign them, and then their buddy got a job at Warner Brothers, and basically he had a one free one just like sign whoever you want, and they signed Linkin Park. And later during the recording of the album, uh, the Warner Brothers came to Chester to try to kick Mike out of the band,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, and have him take over and lead the band and do everything. And Chester told him
Wow.
to get fucked, basically. So,
Most definitely. I would have done the same goddamn thing. Wow, I did
so
not know that actually.
yeah, he here what he said. Yeah, he said they told him you've got such an amazing voice. You could be an amazing star, and he said they wanted to see if I would pull a coup and kick Mike out of the band. And he got pissed about it.
No shit.
Yeah, they had a lot of issues during the recording from the record label wanting to like do all sorts of shit to what they wanted, and like they pretty much had to fight tooth and nail just to be able to record Hybrid Theory the way they wanted to record it.
Well, it was also difficult. So from adding on to that, they had the not I wouldn't say Linkin Park had it difficult, but Warner Brothers deciding to sign them, I guess they had it difficult to find a producer and a mixer because it was a debut album of a first band. So I don't
Well,
know if
they wanted to do it themselves, and that's
who's
why.
that Linkin Park did.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's
Mike
probably
wanted to do
all
most
the
of that,
mixing himself.
right? So
Okay. So, well, with that being said, I'm sure that there was a stipulation in the Warner Brothers contract, you know what I mean,
right,
where they couldn't produce it themselves.
right.
So that's probably like, and that being difficult, a producer and a mixer coming into play. I don't understand the difficulty of it because it's like at the end of the day, you're still getting paid by the company.
Well, all right. So here's the thing. I think that was probably more difficult about it was that, um, I mean, really, like Linkin Park was one of the first bands to merge a lot of different genres into one. I mean, take Paper Cut for instance. Paper Cut has, and Mike says something about it as well, but Paper Cut is such a blend of different things, like heavy rock. There's also some dance music, like background beat going on, and on top of that, with like the cutting and scratching of the DJing, and like there was a lot technically going on,
Mm-hmm.
in that song. And Mike, yeah, I'll read it to you. Paper Cut is one of those songs that pairs up some of my favorite kinds of rock music and some of my favorite kinds of dance music. Chester and I both rapping, both singing, and it really sums up what our band was all about. That's why we put it at the start of our record, because it was such a great introduction of who we were and who we are. I still love it to
Okay.
this day. But I think that's why, for me personally, Paper Cut, which is the opening track, is my favorite, just because of like all the different sounds and stuff that went into it. And you could really tell, like, that was, even Mike says it, like, that was like, you know the what was it,
Resistance.
the
The
coup
resistance.
de main, what do you call that,
I have no idea.
the bread and butter of like what they were and what they were about and what they wanted to sound like. So
Bread and butter. I feel like that's the trailer trash way of saying it. The bread
bread
and
and
butter.
butter. You used to eat
But
buttered bread with dinner, didn't you?
of course I did.
All
I
right,
mean, like,
got to fill up on bread.
there
It's
ain't much
cheap.
dinner. You got to split it between 6 people. One box of hamburger helper, y'all.
Buttered bread, milk, and spaghetti.
Dude, childhood. So you don't get that acid reflux, drink some fucking milk with it.
Yeah.
Goddamn. But
Um. Yeah.
going
Go
on to
ahead.
this, Hybrid Theory, it was the debut album of Linkin Park. It came out October 24th, 2000. It peaked number 2 on the US Billboard 200, certified 12 times platinum by the RIAA,
Jesus.
right? 12 times. Sold 27 million copies worldwide. It's the best-selling debut album since Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction in 1987.
At the
So it
time,
took,
I don't know if there's anything since then, but
I don't either. But if not, that's still such an amazing
that's
like bar to
amazing.
hold, because think about it. That's a 13-year gap since the Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction. So
Right.
it took 13 years for something to sell a hell of a lot better than Guns N' Roses. And you got to think, I'm sure a Michael Jackson album came out in that time, and that motherfucker was amazing,
Right.
and
The
people bought
amount
his
of
records.
album. Think about of all the albums that came out in the '90s. Guess what? None of them beat Guns N' Roses
None
as
of
a
them.
debut album.
That's 13
Until
years of music.
yeah, until yeah, that's pretty insane.
Till, like
Pretty
you said,
incredible, honestly.
Hydra Theory. Yeah, I mean, and that's a huge honor. Nobody can take that away from anybody, any
No,
of them.
no.
Like, that's fucking amazing. So that means everybody that took that chance on them gentlemen that were probably stressed out about taking a chance on a
Yeah,
new band, it paid off in the long run. They're
and
probably going to go down as one of the greats in history.
yeah, especially considering, like, I'm sure it was pretty hard for like big execs at Warner Brothers to like really be okay with that, because I think at the time Chester was still dealing. He was in and out always with different addictions and stuff like that. So like,
Drugs and alcohol was basically fucking
yeah,
just swarming that young man's life.
and you can
You know?
hear. I mean, as the start of debut album, you can hear exactly all of that inside, all the way throughout the whole album, like the different metaphors and alliterations to his addiction and stuff like that. So
Right. No, it's one album that, like, and it's even crazy to think about it now and how we just talked about. I went through that cassette, side to side hundreds of fucking times, and I probably didn't know nearly enough about the lyrics of that music at that time, or that album.
yo,
I was a kid, I didn't think about it. The only things that like really clicked to me when I was a kid, when I was listening to that song, is like whether my dad pissed me off because I had to clean the bathroom, and like so
oh
something
man,
like that, or I'm angry because we got into a screaming match, or whatever the situation. I'd put on Linkin Park and I'd feel better, and crawling in my skin, or just fucking singing with the fucking lyrics,
yeah,
so, or with the song. So it's crazy to think about that. When you were younger, and you never realize until you're a grown ass adult about like how deep those lyrics meant.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's either Chester was born in 73 or he was born in 77. It was one of the two.
Okay.
I'm not 100% certain. I looked it up a little bit earlier, but I cannot remember. But anyways, so if you think about that, like he was already, 23 or 27 years old when the album released.
Oh, he was
So
21 when they were recording.
he was 21. Okay, so it might be 78, 79 is
Or
what it
like
is.
right before. So
But
he
anyways,
might have been 23 probably when it came out.
right. But anyways, with that being said, like he was battling demons while I was just a 10-year-old kid going to his room because of, my smart ass mouth. So like he's writing these deep ass lyrics of like personal grown ass adult life that he's dealing with, and I'm just a kid, like, yeah, Linkin Park, you guys understand me, And it's like I clearly did not understand them, So
Yeah, no, clearly. And I didn't none of that clicked with me until we started talking about wanting to do this a couple weeks ago, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start listening to some of that and like paying attention to some of the lyrics, and it's pretty insane. Um, I mean, I'll go back. I'll keep saying this, but Paper Cut.
you got to go to another song, my man.
We will. We'll cover this. We got. We're gonna cover a couple of them, but
All
to
right.
start, before we jump into this, was there any other production notes you wanted to go over?
Yeah, there actually was. There's a few other things. So actually the 44th Grammys, they won best hard rock performance for Crawling.
Okay.
That was actually one of their biggest or I'm sorry, let me rephrase. In the end was their most successful single of that
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
But I guess for the music video of Crawling is how they won the Grammy. But
Okay.
they and to promote this album because it coming out in 2000, they did 324 shows in 2001 alone.
Yeah.
1 year they did 324 shows.
Um, I wanted to go. Yeah. So actually, uh, Mike said something about that tour. Um, yeah, he said that was the hardest tour that they ever did. Was that first tour? He said we basically followed Winter around the world for 6 months, and we were always sick. And then to top it off, the guys in Deftones started to get a bit jealous and began treating us really poorly. Steph and Chino said some pretty nasty things over interviews, and we tried not to say anything bad because we didn't want more attention on the tour, but it was pretty miserable.
Damn.
Yeah.
Fuck Deftones, man.
Bro,
For
apparently
at least that moment. God, I love Deftones music though. Fuck. So
they just
fucking
got jealous, man. Linkin Park came out of nowhere and like we're
is it just
crushing
because it
it
was?
on tour. Like,
I mean, they were pulling the Grateful Dead. They were pulling that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
well, yeah, like
For that tour year, 324 fucking shows in 1 year.
yeah,
Fucking insanity.
yeah.
And following Winter, fuck that.
They were always sick. Fuck that, dude. I would be so upset.
But they probably had the most fucking amazing fun,
Oh, I
of their
bet. I
life.
mean, I don't know. He said
I mean, Deftones are
it
getting
was
jealous.
pretty miserable.
I mean, he says that, but like, there was probably good nights and good memories. You know what
Yeah,
I
no
mean?
doubt.
There has to be.
You're gonna have great memories, I'm sure. But yeah,
But yeah, I can imagine just being cold all the time, constantly, never getting out. And if you're following like the winter the entire year, the entire fucking year, I'm not having it. I couldn't even handle Ohio winter for the few months that we had it.
yeah.
Fuck that.
Nope. Cool on
But
that.
go on into those lyrics, my man. Take
Yeah.
us
So
on a deep dive.
all right. So before we jump into the lyrics themselves, I want to say that I kind of have an impression of what the main idea of hybrid theory is about. Um, I haven't got any. I haven't found really any concrete evidence of anything that they have said to say what Hybrid Theory is about as a whole, but I think it's more than just a collection of songs. I think it's called Hybrid Theory. I mean, that came from um, before Linkin Park was a band.
They actually called themselves Hybrid Theory.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but I think they took that and like wanted to make something that was more than just an album or a collection of songs. And I think that's why like they worked so hard to make sure this album was perfect. And I mean it was, and it did great. So
It's very
um
special.
um
It's probably very special to the bandmates for sure.
yeah, no doubt. And I think
And the clout they have behind it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So much.
And like with what Mike was saying about Paper Cut and how he loved it and they wanted to put it at the beginning of the album because it was a great representation of who they are. And then, so I think Paper Cut kind of lends to the story of Hybrid Theory and essence of what the entire album is about, because it's kind of an introduction to the album, if you will. And so, um, for the most part, is Paper Cut's about um, having a voice inside your head that tells you to do things that you know you shouldn't do. And it's not so much like cut and dry schizophrenia type what I mean, but like we all have that voice in the back of our head that, tells us things, that we say self-deprecating things about ourselves, or like make us feel shitty about ourselves, or like project our own things onto the world or people around us and stuff like that. And um that's kind of what the lyrics are about. um he says, why does it feel like night today? Something in here is not right today. Why am I so uptight today? Paranoia is all I got left. I don't know what stressed me first or how the pressure we fed, but I noticed what it feels like to have a voice in the back of my head. Like a face that I hold inside, a face that awakes when I close my eyes, a face that watches every time I lie, a face that laughs every time I fall, and watches everything. So I know that when it's time to sink or swim, that the face inside here in me, right underneath my skin. Um,
You were mildly trying to rap it and then you slowed down to read it. You were mildly just like, man, I'm going
I,
back into this song. Right?
yeah, I
Like,
want,
and then you're
yeah,
like, yeah, hold on, I'm reading lyrics for people. So
yeah,
let
yeah.
me,
Well,
let me slow down.
um,
But yeah,
it's
they're
like,
very deep fucking lyrics.
yeah. So it's kind of creating this. It's setting this picture of, um, you know, having like two people, if you will, living inside of yourself. um and it's just like it starts as like this voice in your head that is there, and it's always there, and it's always lingering, and you know it watches every time you lie and laughs every time you fall, or whatever. And eventually, like throughout the song, it gets more realized. Instead of just being a voice, it's a face, you know and so you start putting a face to it, and it starts becoming more and more like real to you, if you will. um so and then it goes into the chorus, uh where he says, it's like I'm paranoid looking over my back. It's like a whirlwind inside of my head. It's like I can't stop what I'm hearing within. It's like the face inside is right beneath my skin. um and I can kind of relate to some of that lyrics in the sense that, like, a lot of this is like what you were saying, where you didn't even realize this when you were a kid. You didn't understand the complexity of the lyrics themselves. You know what I mean? But now that I've kind of went in and started looking at it, it's like pretty, like, definitely deep, and definitely like you're able to connect. A lot of people should be able to connect with it, and personally I do as well, because like Like the whole idea of the voice in your head, and then it's like a whirlwind inside of my head. Those two like resonate pretty heavy with me, just because like I constantly like procrastinate and like can't focus, can't get shit done all the time, because there's always a whirlwind of thoughts and voices in my head, like talking about this, doing this, and like um and so yeah, that's what I think. That's why I resonate with Paper Cut so much. um
I think anybody that's went through something mentally, or anybody that sits there and like will go through their fucking week and think about how they pissed off everybody, and you know what I mean? Like they go and piss off everybody Monday through Friday, and then on Sunday while you're taking a shit, you're thinking about all the people you annoyed.
right,
Like and like yeah, I try to be funny with this, but it's serious because we all sit there constantly, day in and day out, probably battling some kind of monster or some kind of like bullshit that you're sitting there doing, whether it be procrastination, whether it be you being negative about either yourself or others. Like, you know, we're all battling those things that we don't want to happen
right,
constantly. And I think that's where they come into Paper Cut. Maybe it's the demons with the drugs and the alcohol for Chester. It could be something else for another person, and so on and so
right,
forth. I think Paper Cut is the way that you interpret it. I think it's the way that you interpret through your life and what you go through with your demons. Um, you know, that's how I feel that how Paper Cut resonates with me. It's all about just demons and you can whether or not you can figure out a way to turn a new leaf on your day or on the thoughts that you're having. And that's easier said than done all the damn time. But it's always worth trying. And that's how I feel about Paper Cut. So,
yeah,
but that's me as an adult. Again, as a kid, it was
yeah,
just fuck you, Dad. You know, so
yeah,
also that was one of the hits. You know what I mean? Paper Cut was out
yeah,
of Hybrid Theory. They also had Crawling in the end and One Step Closer. Those were the big four hits that
yeah,
came off of Hybrid Theory.
yeah. And One Step Closer. Um, Now I'm not sure this now, and then this kind of ties back into what I was saying about Paper Cut. I think a lot of the lyrics in the whole album, and specifically all four of these songs that you mentioned,
I mean, and the chorus of this one. I
yeah,
mean,
I think they all lend to the idea of essentially you being like the voices in your head that tell you, you know, things that you like, that the negative thoughts you have and stuff
that
are
impact you.
impact you, are like your biggest hurdles. And I think a lot of the whole album plays on that idea, and I think that's kind of what the main theme of Hybrid Theory is like having those thoughts and like trying to battle the thoughts of like your own thoughts that impact you more than outside things do negatively, right? um and like, well, One Step Closer is pretty much the same way. I mean, it's
I mean, the chorus tells you right there. You know,
everything you
everything you
say.
say to
Yeah,
me takes me one step closer to the edge because I'm about to break. You know,
right.
I need a little room to breathe. You know, everything, man. I mean, it's
And
just
yeah, I
go
don't
ahead.
think like you could potentially interpret those lyrics as him saying that about someone, but I
It
think
could
it's
be.
more so. I think it's more so him saying it about himself. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like,
And that could go back to interpretation as well. It really
yeah.
depends on how you interpret it.
I
Because
think as from
interpret-
like a from the writing standpoint for them, that's what it was about. I mean, you could interpret it, you know,
well,
to
that really
have it
depends on
fit
how.
your
Did
life,
you
but
read? Did you read what it actually is? What they intended for that?
for what? One Step Closer?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, did you read what's the reason behind the lyrics?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So like, I'm not saying that it's not a way that you can interpret it, but I also would like to hear interpretate. I don't know. That sounds fucking weird to me now, but like I think it really depends on how they looked at it. And I'd rather I would want their standpoint on what One Step Closer was, and like you can't speak for bandmates and what they feel about the song. You know what I mean? And
Right.
with that being said, I'm just saying, like, when I think about One Step Closer, when I was a kid and even as an adult, like when somebody's one step closer to the edge, when somebody's like at that point or at a breaking point where somebody's either, physically destroying you mentally or not verbally destroying you mentally, however you want to look at it. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So I'm
Go ahead.
actually, so I guess this one actually potentially pertains to their original producer.
Okay.
And so I guess Chester and Mike were having issues getting this song onto the album because their producer, I guess, had a lot of control problems and had them rewrite lyrics for the entire album a bunch of times because he
Okay.
didn't like them. And so Chester goes on to say here that he like lost his mind and flipped out on him and like in the studio because he had already rewritten it like 20 times and like they went back in to record and he handed in the sheet of lyrics and dude didn't even look at it, handed it back to him and told him to do it again.
Yeah.
And
So
Chester lost his shit. And so I guess that's what this is about is he says, I cannot take this anymore, saying everything I've said before. All these words, they make no sense. I find bliss in ignorance. The less I hear, the less you say. You'll find that out anyway. So I think this is kind of like a call out against the producer.
it was like fighting words. Like meet me in the yard, bro. I'm over
Right,
your
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah. So that's pretty cool. I just saw that. I was reading.
So
Um,
that's what I mean. Like these could have like a totally different
yeah,
interpretation, and it's good to know where it actually came from or the original story because you know again I think that's what's beautiful about music is you take it how you want to, and then there's always a story, and it's good to know the story, the backbone behind the music because you wouldn't have this, you wouldn't have those toe tappers if there wasn't a story behind the song. And I think that goes with like a lot, all music.
right.
I don't think there's like a song that doesn't have a story. And if there is, then let me know. But I don't think so.
You're right. Yeah, and so going on to crawling. Um, again, I don't have any concrete things that anybody said about it, but my interpretation is this one is more so pertaining to Chester's addiction
Okay.
and talking about crawling in my skin. These wounds they will not heal. Fear is how I fall, confusing what is real. There's something inside me that pulls beneath the surface, consuming, confusing. This lack of self-control I fear is never ending, controlling I can't seem. To find myself again, the walls are closing in. So I think this is about him struggling with his addiction.
It's a definite possibility.
Um, and so,
I mean, the lyrics speak clear of that.
and like as someone who I'm not saying I struggle with like bad addiction, but I have addictive tendencies and I have like addictive thoughts about things all the time, like drug or alcohol related. I do pretty well, I think, but still, I can
But
relate
I mean, it's
to the
it's
sense of
honesty.
like because there's a lot of times where I am in my head beating myself up about something I did, whether it was drinking or drug related, and um, I can see how these lyrics would um, relate to that sort of feeling of something inside that pulls beneath the surface. Because like having an addiction and having those addictive thoughts are like always constantly just weighing you down, pulling you down, and you feel like can't escape, and the lack of self-control is never ending. It's like you almost can't even control yourself. You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
hard.
dude,
So
I understand. I think anybody with an addictive personality understands. It is a tough road trying to get out of an addiction,
yeah,
or to try to like get a good addiction, you know what I mean, or a better one, I should say. You know, having, whether it be going to the gym or taking a walk, just daily exercise shit. No, I'd rather just roll up a joint and sit on my fucking couch. Like, I mean, it's not a bad idea, don't get me wrong,
right.
but like that's where you need to figure out where you can do that good or that better option as well.
See,
And that's with anything in life.
for Chester, it was more like taking 10 hits of acid and doing meth. So
Probably right. So
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 it's a little different.
I don't.
Well, just in the sense of like, I'm not saying mentally per se it's different
Mhm.
because
Like a drug is a drug. So addiction, regardless of
right,
what it is. Now, obviously, ones are a hell of a lot more intense than others. So yeah,
right, yeah,
definitely a joint compared to somebody sitting there smoking fucking meth.
on acid.
So
So
yeah. So like yeah, addiction's a difficult road. Period.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's crawling. So I think that's kind of where those lyrics lend to that story is, it's like crawling in your skin, just like that thing that's there, you can't stop or get rid of, and it weighs you down, you feel it all the time. And I mean, I know that a lot of people describe going through withdrawal symptoms as like feeling like itchy and feeling like um you have things crawling under your skin, so that could be another metaphor or reference there as well. But
Hmm.
again, that's speculation. But
Right. I mean, I've never been to where
that's
I've had it where I withdraw, so I don't know the symptoms of said withdrawal. But I'm sure
right.
fucking enough that, whether it be scratching or just feeling, what do you want to call it? Icky, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's the word I'm trying to look for. Just, not comfortable in your own skin to the point of irritation,
Right.
I would say. Something like that. So, and I know, withdrawal also deals with a lot of vomiting, a lot of sleep, a lot of night sweats, a lot of crazy shit. So that could be a definite, interpretation of crawling in my skin as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
um and then the last one lyrically I think I wanted to talk about was In the End, which you said was their biggest hit, which I think was
yes.
pretty accurate. And probably, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it probably still is the most played Linkin Park song, if I'm not mistaken. If you go on
Oh,
Spotify and look at top played, I'm pretty sure.
right.
Um, and so this is a little fun fact that I wouldn't necessarily call fun fact, but um,
We'll call it a sad fact.
yeah, sad fact. Uh, so the lyrics of the chorus are I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end it doesn't even matter. So I found this out that the first two lines of that actually uh kind of tie into um a message that was written before by a 15-year-old before a school shooting.
Really?
Oh, no.
Okay. So you just throwing out
No, well, all right. I just realized that that information that I got was wrong, so I apologize. Well, I was looking. I had written it down, and I was looking at the time frame, and the time frame doesn't add up. So
Gotcha.
that happened after the song came out.
If
by
you were
a
in a
few months.
newsroom, if you were in a fucking office with news or whatever you want to call them, a news panel, you'd be fired. Be fucking fired. But I forgive you. You're rehired. The
Thanks.
salary is nothing, and you we'll
I
do
don't.
this
I
for
don't get
free.
paid anyway. So
Right?
pro bono, right? Is that what they call
Pro
it?
bono. We get a Christmas bonus. No, we don't.
um. Anyway, so going into more of the lyrics.
In the end,
It's I want to say an interpretation of the idea behind this is very nihilistic. It's an approach to life that you feel like no matter what you do doesn't matter and nothing gets better, and that's kind of what this is about. And one of the things that I wanted to pull out of the song is the lyrics. Time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock ticks life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on. Didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. So going into that, the part that stands out to me the most is um, didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Now, the lyrics didn't look out below. That kind of my interpretation of that is like jumping into something or off of something blindly, Um, and so I want to say that kind of corresponds to probably them writing this album or trying to make it as a band in general, diving head first, but you didn't look out below. And, all of a sudden now all this time is passing and, it just takes life away, you're trying to hold on, and basically everything around you is falling apart while you were, you know, in this thing, you're
most
following,
definitely.
so like, I think that lends to that sort of um, idea of diving headfirst into something and not looking out below and realizing that, a lot of times when you do that, there's just all these things that
There's consequences.
there's consequences. There's,
Mm-hmm.
time goes by, other things in your life fall to the wayside, and this or that, and like, um, and I think the whole idea of you know trying so hard and in the end it doesn't matter is like, you know, the approach and the feeling of being stuck in that mindset of like, you know, I'm in this thing and then all this life is going on around me and it's just flying by and I'm not even watching it. I'm not even living it. I'm just watching it go by.
Right. I look at it. You know, go ahead and read those the chorus for me again.
Tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it doesn't even matter.
Keep going.
I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end it doesn't even matter.
The way I look at that when you bring that up is like all the things that fall on the wayside, like he talked about, and I think coming into conclusion with the chorus is how I this is how I feel is it's death. I think in the end it doesn't matter everything that you got going on, whether it be you know I don't know, drama, whatever, life situations. Let's just put it that way. Life situations that happen when you're on your fucking deathbed. None of that shit is going to matter. You're not taking all the valuables and all the things that you maybe worked so fucking hard for. Whether it be that, whether it be you're mad at your brother over some bitter bullshit for 30 fucking years, whatever. I don't know. That kind of life shit, that kind of stuff does not matter in the end. And that's what I look at it is like, all this shit, all these valuables, all the anger, all the bullshit, you're going to die anyway. So it's like, what's the most important thing for you? what are you going to work towards? What are you going to not jump for? What are you not going to raise consequences in your life for? That's how I look at it. You know, so, you know, everybody can have their own interpretation. It's just for that one, I just feel at the end of the day, death is inevitable, and whatever choices you decide to make, try to make good ones, because the bad ones, I think those end up sticking with you a hell of a lot more than anything good does. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And to close on that song, um, I'm gonna quote the end of the second verse. Things aren't the way they were before. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Not that you knew me back then, but it all comes back to me in the end. You kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard. So it's
okay. That you can interpret it, interpretate a entirely different way. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
interpret,
like interpret. God damn it! Thank you. Uh,
interpretate.
interpretation. Whatever.
You're close.
Anyways, with that being said, that I look at as like, you know, a time when you were younger and you were trying to kiss everybody's fucking ass and trying to be a people pleaser basically, and then you sat there and at some point you snapped and woke the fuck up and decided the only person I need to please is my goddamn self. You know, that's another way of looking, or how I would look at that is like, you know, because when you go back to those people and like, let's say for example, you go back to one of those people you hung out with when you were that people pleaser, and they see you years after and you're not that person anymore. You've completely changed. They'll say you've changed. It's like, no, motherfucker, I didn't change. I just stopped putting up with your bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's how I look at it. And people think you're crazy for that moment. It's like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm just tired of living the way that I was living, kissing your fucking ass.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I'm not sure exactly, again, speculation of why this was written the way it was, but I think this song and maybe even just the second verse is pretty personal for whoever wrote it. I'm not sure which one of them wrote these lyrics, but because I feel like that is maybe talking about someone specifically. Maybe it's their family or something, that when they wouldn't even recognize them anymore. Not that you knew me back then, um, and you kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart.
See, that's where that people pleaser shit comes into play with me on that. As like, you know, he couldn't handle being that fucking person anymore, was holding too much bullshit in, not saying exactly what they wanted to feel. You know what I mean? That's what I think when I hear those lyrics. It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
somebody that was holding in all their fucking feelings just to please everybody else.
yeah. And then, and at the time, uh, he didn't really know what it meant, but now it means to him that it's really just a memory of a time that he tried so hard.
Mm-hmm. Right. And he tried kissing ass too goddamn much. That's really how I look at that. Is somebody that worked way too hard to please everybody else around them. And they held every one of their fucking feelings in because they thought that it'd be problematic to give or to branch or vent to somebody else. And so they got tired of it and they grew the fuck out of that shell and they decided to stop pleasing everybody else.
I
And
think
then like
I think that more is talking about whoever he's talking about. He says you
it
kept everything inside, not I.
how I don't care. However, it doesn't matter if it's you or I. It's anybody that's going through that situation. When somebody's keeping shit inside, balled in, you know, or when they say that you wouldn't recognize them anymore. It's
Right.
just it's
I think he's saying they kept everything inside, and he tried to mend. He was trying to mend that with that person, but they wouldn't open up.
could be that as well, most definitely.
Yeah. I'm just going off the way he says you and then I.
I don't care about the you and I. Like I said, it's interpretation. People take music the way they want to, and it depends on how they hear it. You hear something, you hear a ring ding one type of way, somebody might hear ding dong. I'm saying what I'm basically saying
But
is,
was it a ring ding or a ding dong?
okay, this is the point I'm trying to make here. Okay. I'm just saying that somebody takes lyrics a certain type of way because it's what they feel applicable in their life. At the end of the day, they could tell you blatantly, it's however you interpret our songs. You know what I'm saying? It's however they make you feel and your feelings. It could mean something completely else to Chester. It could mean something else to Mike. They were the Mike was the majority of the lyricist. He was the writer of the
Most of them.
most of the songs from Linkin Park.
Right.
So I think it's really the way that you interpret shit. And it's the way that they interpret it. It's their story, so it's their song. They have their background for it. But like I said, that's where music comes into play. That's where it's so beautiful. You have a memory from a song, right? Well, that song might literally have nothing to do with that, or it might make you feel a certain type of way, but it might have nothing to do with that.
Right.
It's interpreting, or god damn that fucking word. It's how you interpret. There it is.
You just
It's how
you keep wanting to add more to it, and it's just interpreting.
right. It's how you interpret. Oh man, I feel like I do. I just want to add something else. But anyways, that's I'm passionate about that because like I love all kinds of music, and that it all started with Linkin Park was one of the earlier loves that I had, and so I just feel with all music, it just depends on how you fucking feel about it. If you want to be a deep person and you want to figure out exactly what the fucking lyrics are about, that's where you do the research and figure out what the lyricist has behind their sleeve and shit like that. Right. What I think makes Linkin Park and Hybrid Theory so personal is that they did write it. There's not a lot of people that write their own music anymore. They have fucking people they hire for that shit. A lot of that does happen.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it happens where you do have it where it's personal and you have somebody in the band that's writing the music, and that's what makes it so great. And I think that's what stands out with this album here. That stands out with Hybrid Theory because, again, you wouldn't sell 27 million copies world fucking wide if it didn't touch you in some sort of type of way. It just wouldn't fucking happen. Yeah. And that's what makes, I think, Hybrid Theory so powerful as an album. And they went on to continue great success, but this episode is not about their additional albums. You know what I mean? I had notes about Reanimation, which was just a remix of Hybrid Theory,
which is really cool. I've listened to a lot of it. Mm-hmm. What's even cooler is they released a 20th anniversary
of Hybrid Theory.
Of Hybrid Theory last year. With it's the original album with a couple bonus tracks, and then all of Reanimation, and then some demos.
That's awesome. Now that's worth buying. I might have to pick that up.
I think they have like a whole like collector edition too. So look into that.
I will have to do that because I still like I said earlier, I still buy the CDs. So
you fucking boomer.
I am hard as fuck. I still buy tapes. I went to the thrift store the other day.
What kind of tapes?
The first one I bought. What the fuck is his name? The original JT. Who is the
OG James JT? Taylor. James
Taylor?
Taylor?
James Taylor. So I bought a James Taylor on tape. I bought
OG JT, baby.
Dude, that's the OG JT. Don't disrespect it.
No.
Put some respect on it.
Spec.
I know the kids with
respect.
Like, dude, okay. That pisses me off so much. Like, how fucking lazy are you of a generation? Like, I watch TikTok, okay, and there's this dude that has his mom cook for him and all that shit. At the end of every TikTok he makes, he says, "Don't forget your bev." You can't say beverage, motherfucker. Are you serious? Don't forget your bev. He's got some accent. Don't forget your bev. Fuck you. Say beverage, bitch. So every time that I see that video, yes, you like that? Oh, hey, can I get a bev?
Yeah, hell yeah. You like sparkling bevs?
Fuck out of here with that shit. Lazy. That's why we have LOL and JK and fucking BRB, and
I would say lazy. I would say
their speech is lazy. I don't know. They're not. It's like at some point, you give them long enough, it's gonna start be a whole new fucking language.
well, yeah, it's the evolution of language. It's
The evolution of lazy language.
no, it's more so you can say less with saying the same amount.
I
Like
mean,
you
we
don't
could.
have to say as much to say the same thing. It's
I mean, I
streamlining
get,
and
I,
making
I get, I get
efficient.
100% with what you're saying. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not efficient to me. I mean, and maybe that's me growing up in a time. We were the last people to have cursive taught to us. Cursive
Right.
is not a big fucking deal. So I get
Man, I
that
don't even
very
know if I
much.
could write the alphabet anymore.
I don't know if I could write the alphabet. I just remember M being like three of those little fucking humps.
I
You know
mean,
what I'm talking about?
why what was the point? Why did we even have cursive anyway?
I don't know. That would be a good little thing to research and look up.
Fun
I'm,
fact.
yeah, but
Come
yeah,
at us next week with a fun fact about cursive.
I will. I can do that. Fun facts every week. You know,
You got a fun
I
fact for
guess.
this week?
Um,
Hmm.
yes, yes, I do. So camels have protective eyelids. So, for example, when they are out in the desert and they have that desert shit going on, they have like a protective coating over their eyes that will cause them no discomfort and no problem with the sand. It's like
That's
an extra fucking layer.
that's wild.
It is wild. I'll come back at you
It's
next
like
week.
alligators. You see alligators and shit with that like weird like
Oh, they'll do that fucking, and then they
yeah.
also do that one. They got,
They
it's
have
like a
the
fucking
like
camera.
yeah, it's like they have like a thin one on the inside and then they have their normal eyelids.
God, what a
Fun fact.
fun
But
fact.
anyway, so hybrid theory, out of 10 rating.
It's a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 10.
All right.
There's nothing that could be changed. There's nothing that could be perfected. It's literally perfection. I hope it goes down as it's going down as the best-selling debut album since Guns N' Roses. But I hope it also goes down in like some kind of history where it's preserved or something like that because of how important it was, and it being the best-selling rock album of the 21st century. I mean, that's a big fucking deal.
Right.
So yeah, it's a 10 for me.
I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
Okay.
Um, maybe even a 9.8. Um, the reason is as a whole, the album is phenomenal. Front to back, it's a great listen. There's a bunch of songs. Most of them are different, but
12 to be exact.
there are a couple songs that are stand out as weaker than others, and that's the only reason why I would even knock it a 0.5.
Well, you
Um,
went up to point 0.8.
right,
So
yeah.
where you at? 9.5 or 9.8? You gotta pick one or the
I
other.
have to choose. Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
you do.
All right. 9.8.
Okay.
9.8.
Okay.
And it's like I said, it's not because any of it's bad. It's just that there are one or two that are stand out as like songs I might, if I listen to the album again, I might skip that song. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not
I
because
do.
it's a bad song, but because it is notably not as good as the rest of the album.
Okay.
So, because I mean, all like the four songs that we stated are powerhouses of great songs, right? Paper Cut,
Yes.
One Step Closer, Crawling, In the End. All those are massive, great songs. And most of all the other ones are also great. But I can't remember if it's Runaway or By Myself. That kind of throws.
Runaway's great.
I think it's By
Runaway is fucking
Myself
great.
then. I think it's By Myself. Not that it's a bad song, but it is notably weaker than the rest of the album. And so I'm just trying to be a little fair in the essence of,
Well, yeah, we're not sitting here trying to sugarcoat it. It's just personal opinion. It's
Yeah.
always it's gonna be a 10 for me. Being that fucking kid, first tape, you know what I mean? First music thing I ever bought at a music store. Like, so it was a big deal walking into a fucking Best Buy or whatever it was in 2000 that I got that album. So like it's more nostalgia than it is like critiquing, song for song for me. Like, and I love every one of them. Paper Cut, One Step Closer, With You, Points of Authority, Crawling, Runaway, By Myself, In the End, A Place for My Head, Forgotten, Cure for the Itch, and Pushing Me Away. They're all great fucking songs. They will all be near and dear to my heart. The band will be near and dear to my heart. Seeing them on fucking TRL with their fucking video, their very, very, very 2001 music videos. I love them. They make me laugh now because it reminds me of the 2000s. But like, it's childhood, man. And, anything that you can retain from childhood, and actually still gives you that good feeling, got to give it praise always. Right. So yes, this is a 10 for me, hands down.
Right.
So, yeah, man. Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory. If you haven't listened to it, go and listen to it. If you've never heard of the band, definitely fucking listen to it.
Have you been living under a rock your whole life?
Well, again, this is a 20-year-old album, so I'll give this a pass to any 20-year-old that's listening. You know what I mean?
Fair.
That kind of thing.
Fair. If you were born after 2000, 2001.
And if you haven't listened to now, it would be weird for you not to know who Linkin Park is because, a lot of their songs, and they had a song on Transformers, you know what I mean?
Songs. They did a couple songs for Transformers.
And then not only that, they had a couple albums come out as well. I think their last album was 2017.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be weird for you not to know who Linkin Park is. But
all right, R.I.P. Chester.
Yes, most definitely. And if you listen to Linkin Park, there's my other thing. If you listen to them and you never listen to Hybrid Theory, how fucking dare you? You know what I mean? Like, how dare you? You should definitely go listen to that album.
Accoutrement. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but
I think you are. I'm thinking where somebody says something La Resistance. You know what I'm talking about?
La Resistance is not
the Viva la Resistance or some shit. I don't know.
That's resistance.
I know what the fuck it is. It doesn't matter. I'm just making a point. I'm saying somebody says that shit, bro. Somebody says Viva la Resistance or something like that. That's what I'm saying. Somebody says something like that. It's like when somebody. It's not menage a trois, is it, or is that like a threesome?
Yes, that's what.
I think I'm thinking the wrong thing. Yeah. And what's it called when somebody has the accoutrement?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
The accoutrement? Is that what it is? The accoutrement?
How do you
sitting here debating this fucking shit? Well, I don't know. Anyways, on that note, we'll talk about it after, man. Anyways, on that fucking note, this has been a wonderful podcast. We appreciate you listening. Please search us on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We are on there. Search Blasphemous Reviews. You will find us.
Yep.
Other than that, much love to you guys, and we will see you next week.
Peace, y'all.
See ya.